Welcome to Clause 8, the #1 podcast on intellectual property. This special edition comes from the VIA Licensing Alliance Bridge Summit 2025 in San Francisco, where innovators, policymakers, and industry leaders explored the most pressing challenges and opportunities in SEP licensing today. Hosted by Eli Mazur and brought to you by TradeSpace, where ideas take flight.
Maybe you could give us a high-level sense of why is licensing more difficult in Asia than it is in the US or Europe?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't think licensing is more difficult in Asia.
Really?
I think licensing is difficult everywhere, and
Okay.
it's equally difficult. And the challenges each region face might be slightly different, right? And the perception of maybe licensing is a little bit more difficult in not just Asia. I think China particularly is because they are later to the game. Think about how much they have grown in the past 15 years. United States had 100 years of patent law to work with, and it has a very solid foundation, or Western foundations, whereas China is a child, it's infant, it's just growing up. And the amount of growth they have had in the past 10, 15 years from learning about the patents and not understanding IP cost to becoming the biggest patent filer, to become highly sophisticated negotiators, licensees, and licensors as well, just all in the past 15 years is tremendous, right? So I don't view that as that's difficult. It's just growing pain. And if we gave them another 100 years to grow, the way they grow probably will exceed any Western society. That's just, just random talk. This is not my prediction or anything. But what I'm trying to illustrate in a not very eloquent way is that it's not difficult. It's a normal growth path that you will expect any country, any company to go through. Now, why the next part of it to address what you said is like why we have to be there is isn't it nice that I'm talking to you in person? I'm sitting right here. You can see me and you can see how I'm moving, right? And we're not robots talking to each other. We're human talking to another human. Yes, I might represent a company. You might represent your company. Our interests might be opposite, but sitting in the same room, having this conversation, sharing a meal, have tea, have a drink together is very heartwarming, and that can bring us closer, that get me understand your issue better, that allow me to address your issue better, that gives me the ability to do a better job for our licensors to broker a deal. That's why I want to be there.
So I'm sure you've kind of went through this trajectory in the US, maybe with some companies where you kind of have to maybe meet them in person and educate them, and finally they become happy licensees and come to VLA. Are you sensing that same kind of trajectory, I guess, in China and Asia?
Yeah, the culture differences. There's a significant culture differences. In fact, I can share, not necessarily, we're not going to name any companies, right? I can share that with...
If you want to announce it.
No. I like my job. I like to keep it, okay? I like all my friends here. I do not need to name names. But maybe afterwards, you buy me a drink, I'll tell you, okay? But here's it. The Western culture is quite funny. In fact, that when I discuss with key licensees, sometimes I say, we're in the same hood. Let me come to see you. Let me take a short flight to see you. They're like, no. Please don't come. Team calls and Zoom calls is perfect. We can do perfect amount of business. I don't want to go to my office, right? The culture is very different. We do everything remotely. It's perfectly fine. Whereas Asian licensees, first of all, they're speaking in a language they're not comfortable in. And there's a time zone differences. And then you're on a Zoom call and first 10 minutes, can you hear me? Do you understand me? Right? That there is this technical time and language difficulties. And on top of that, most of the deal closure, everyone can tell you, are done at a dinner table, not done at an office. You go to the office to do the pleasantries and do some presentations. When you go to dinner, it's when they tell you, let me tell you what my real problem is. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you what you can do to help me. Right? If you can get their trust, that is. Yeah. Right? That is why you have to be in person. There is a significant culture differences that require a meeting to be done in person in Asia versus a meeting to be done in the Western company. And on top of that, language, if you are forcing someone else to speak your language to negotiate a deal that where they don't want to pay you the money, you better go in there in person to ask for it. And whereas in the US and EU, everybody speaks English, everybody want to work remotely. They don't want to meet you in person as much.